Hey everybody, it's Roger with Kinsta. Today I'm joined by my good friend Nick Diego. Hey Nick, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. The last time we talked was right before your presentation for WordCamp US. How did that go? It was on Showcase Day, right?
It was very exciting. I was very surprised how many people were there for Showcase Day, and I think it went very well.
Excellent, excellent. So, with the show has kind of evolved since the last time we spoke. We're now trying to learn more about you and kind of where you came from. And as I'm looking back through your LinkedIn profile, I see that you went to not only college for a bachelor's in economics, but you got a master's in economics.
Oh.
Help me draw the line between economics degree and now amazing WordPress developer extraordinaire.
Yeah, I feel like I've had a bunch of different careers in my life. So I went to grad school for economics, but my entire childhood I worked in the hospitality industry and the resort business. So after grad school, I kind of got sucked back in, and I worked in the hospitality industry for about 9-10 years. But during that time, I worked in marketing, and so we worked a lot with the web, and I was introduced to WordPress, and I started wanting to learn web development, and WordPress is a great entry point, as it is for so many other people. So I built my first plugin, and I released it on the WordPress.org repo, and I kind of got hooked. So I built a few plugins over the years, and then after the pandemic, as with a lot of people, you kind of start to think about your career and what you want to do after. And I decided to do WordPress full time.
Okay. All right, so I'm not going to let you out of this economics quandary quite so easily. When you're looking back on your education, because I did a minor in economics, so I've got a little bit of a grasp, but mostly I threw it all away. But when you look back at your studies and then what you're working on today, do you see anything that you're pulling from either micro or macroeconomic level that helps influence how you view the WordPress world?
I'm not sure, but I will say that I was always attracted to economics. It was a very analytical discipline. We also did a lot of coding in many ways and data analysis and all that kind of stuff. And so it really got me interested in mathematics. I actually have a minor in math. And I never thought about doing computer science or anything like that, but it always was in the back of my head that this was interesting. And so I'm talking about WordPress and coding and development. It kind of all stems from that prior experience in economics. I went to grad school because I thought I wanted to become a professor in economics. And then once I got into kind of the minutiae of academia, I decided that it wasn't exactly for me, but it all ended up great.
Absolutely. Like I said, I've got some econ in there somewhere. I have a humanities degree in there somewhere.
Exactly.
I don't know how any of it directly applies to today, but in a general sense it does. Fast forwarding to today, you now have a significant focus on the block editor and just working around kind of that ecosystem. What do you think people overlook the most about the advantage of using the block editor?
The flexibility. And I think that that's something that if you've been building in WordPress for years and years and years, and you're very familiar with classic theming and all the ways of building sites in the past, adopting a block approach can actually seem like you have less flexibility because of you could do so much in code before. But as we're starting to see with each release, the block editor becoming more and more powerful, the flexibility that it affords, especially for your users in terms of managing content, I think that's why I love it. That's the only way I want to build. And I understand that some people don't want to take that approach, but I would just encourage folks with every release, check in on it and see what's new, because it's really becoming such a powerful platform.
Excellent. And there's a thread, I think, that I've talked with a bunch of developers recently about what got them excited about WordPress was the fact that clients could now make updates to the site. And that was a major unlock. And then now with the block editor, the permutations and the, like you said, flexibility that the user now has to be able to go in and try adding different elements, but as the developer, you can put guardrails. So they can't just choose any color, right? You can lock things down, and so that's really an interesting evolution to see kind of happening. As far as what are the most exciting aspects of the block editor that are maybe just come out or that are right on the horizon that people should really be thinking about?
The thing that I'm the most excited about at the moment is the block bindings API. It sounds heavily technical, but it was actually introduced in prior WordPress versions. But what it allows you to do, it allows you to bind post meta to blocks. So one of the challenges in working with block themes is a lot of times you have to build a lot of blocks to do some relatively basic things. So if you had custom post meta for a post or a custom post type, and you wanted that to appear in a block on your site, you need a custom block for that. Well, that's no longer required because now you can bind that data directly to a paragraph block, a heading block, a button, an image, and it all just works. And you don't need a custom block, nothing. And so in 6.7, there's a UI that's being built or is available where it allows you to bind this data without touching any code at all, as long as your post meta is registered, which is just magical. And it's only going to get better and better as we move forward. So it's incredibly powerful now, and I just can't wait to see what comes next.
Okay, and I think you've hit the nail on the head there. When you say block binding API, like you've lost me, right? I mean, it does feel like anytime I hear API, I get a little scared. But it sounds like if we've got a user interface where we're going to be able to go in and copy and paste things, that should make that a lot easier to use. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, imagine like you had a custom post type for a staff member or user. I use the example of like you have a gallery website and you have all your artists, as custom post type, read in your system. And maybe that artist has a preferred medium, maybe they work in oil paints or whatever, and that's a piece of post meta. Well, if you have like an artist profile page where it displays the author and their image, maybe you want to show like medium oils or photography or whatever. You can now do that with copy and paste the post meta and then literally no code whatsoever. Just pull it right into the template. It's hard to explain without showing it visually, but it really is incredibly powerful. And I expect a lot of tutorials and content for folks who are not developers who can easily implement this stuff that would have required hiring a developer or custom coding.
Excellent. That's very exciting to hear. So another aspect that is really starting to take shape is block themes. Mm-hmm. For the uninitiated, and that partially includes me, what is like the big departure between a classic theme and a block-based theme?
So the difference largely is just that everything is a block, and that sounds very kind of trite, but like everything from your header, your footer, the content on your page, it is all powered by blocks. And this is where we get to that challenge of, well, if everything's a block, that means you need to have a block for everything. So what if I have some niche functionality on my website that was previously in code? Well, that needs to be blockified. But we're getting to a point now where between custom plugins and WordPress itself and like block bindings where rendering all that content, especially if it's custom content, is actually quite straightforward. And the benefit is, if you have your own site and you're managing your own site and you are responsible for editing it all yourself anyway, you can go into the site editor and move things around and decide, I want to move this piece here. I want to change up my header, my footer. It's all incredibly accessible without touching any code, which I think is amazing. I mean, I can develop, but when I build my own sites, I rarely touch code, if at all. Sometimes there are a few things that you need to do, but most of the time I'm just in the editor, moving my templates around, modifying things. So, but I do want to stress though that if you're an agency or somebody building something for clients, there are guardrails in place that you can lock things down and prevent your users from editing certain things. And that's only going to get more powerful as we move forward. It's top of mind, right? All this power is great, but you also want to be able to control it for certain users that maybe shouldn't have access to that or just don't have the expertise to modify headers and footers and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And that, of course, leads to the regular conversation of, please do not make everybody an administrator on the website. Awesome. Exactly. Nick, I appreciate your time as always, and it's great to just get some more insights into different parts of the WordPress project. If somebody wants to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in touch?
So I'm on X at Nick M. Diego, but also WordPress Slack. I'm always in WordPress Slack, so N. Diego. Wherever you find me, feel free to reach out. My role is to help people build with WordPress, especially developers. So if you're running into a problem, you have questions about block themes, building custom blocks, whatever, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any of those questions, me and my team as well.
Nick, thank you so much, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Thanks so much.